Hi there, it's Karen here. Welcome back. And today, as it says in the description box, we're working from the to-do box today. This probably doesn't look like something from my to-do box, but that's partly because it's too big. But it's a kind of half a masterboard, like the background of a masterboard, that has been hanging around in my craft room like a bad smell for months. I think I made it probably as just on a random afternoon when I just wanted to use up some bits and thought, oh, one of these days I'll collage the other side and make something. And of course that day has finally arrived, so it wouldn't go in my to-do box, but it's been something I've needing to do. Get it out of my craft room for quite a while. So I thought, so this is the bits of book page that I used as my basis. So this is the side we're going to decorate today. And what I want to use are my lovely papers from Gayle Agostinelli that I showed you right at the beginning when I was introducing my 50s journal. This is what kind of inspired my 50s journal, even though I find the papers don't go with any of the other papers I've got in a way. But I thought I could use them to make a collage masterboard, use them as a basis for some tags or journal cards or whatever we end up making. So because they're so pretty and I really wanted to use them. I may not use all of them because they're very bright in comparison. I've got a few of the other papers here, just some of the scraps, although I do seem to have only 2 colours here. But yeah, I've got loads of scraps knocking around, but I seem to have only got these scraps. Oh yeah, I've got a bit of that as well. So I thought I might bring a bit of this in just to try and tie it together. But as you can see, the colours are really different. So, but I'm determined to use at least some of these to make some things to go in the pockets. Some of this very bright blue and red may be a bit more difficult to use, but I might be able to pick out some bits of it. So that's what I'm hoping to do. So use some of these, but I think I need to break it up a bit. So I've also pulled out, if you I showed you these quite a while ago. These are the 2 Women's Own magazines from 1959. So they're just about in the 50s, so I thought they'd work, that I bought when I was on holiday last year in an antique shop. And they're very 1950s to me. It was her that really attracted me, and I've got a couple. And they've got some wonderful sort of adverts and bits of fashion and this kind of thing in here. I pulled out a few sheets from each one. It's lovely feeling old paper. I'm hoping to put a couple of them in the journal itself as pages. Excuse me. Excuse me, as soon as I start filming, I start coughing, don't I? So I thought, well, I might be able to put a little bit of one of these in, or some of this in. It's part of the collage as well. So I've got this one and this one. They're both from 59. But look at these lovely ladies with their amazing outfits. So I thought, well, I've got to use these. These would make really good for focal points on journal cards, or look at these, on tags and things. So I thought, well, these would be great, and maybe I'll be able to find some smaller bit lads and things that I can just pop in just to break up the masterboard. And as well as that, I've got bits of music, old music, and some other little scraps of paper that might fit in as well. This isn't a huge masterboard, so I've probably got way more paper than I'm possibly going to use, but I'd rather have some choices. And it's a bit curled up, so it's going to be good to get some of these, get another layer on, so hopefully it'll flatten it out. If not, I'll just pop it under my board. So I might just start off by tearing out a few pieces from these papers, and then we'll just try and place them on a bit. So this one is one of my favourite pages. I love this page. I like this little piece of all these lovely little lilac-y bits, because I don't have lilac in the other papers, but I think there's no reason why we can't have a bit of lilac in the journal, is there? So I'm just going to try and tear some pieces out. And I really love some of these greens as well. I'm just going to give myself a few pieces to play with. I think this ruler is actually it's a bit big for what I need, so I'm just going to use this one, get it the right way around, because I tried to tear when it was on its slightly curved side and that didn't go well. So I'm filming this on the morning of Mother's Day. Here in the UK it's Mother's Day today, and this afternoon the whole family is heading over to my eldest daughter's. We've all been invited for a kind of early dinner, late lunch. I'm not quite sure how you describe it. I'm not quite sure what they're planning. But my younger daughter and her family are going too, so it'll be a proper family get-together, which will be lovely, because I don't think we've all been together since, all in one place, have we? Since Christmas, maybe? Anyway, we do love to get together when we can. It's not always easy because, you know, particularly the youngsters, they get very busy at the weekends catching up with their friends, and the kids have their activities. My granddaughter usually on a Saturday she has swimming lessons, and yeah, they just have things going on at the weekends normally, so it's more difficult for everybody to get together. So it's nice that they're doing it today for Mother's Day, because we're all mothers. It'd be nice to have the three of us together to celebrate our day. I'm looking forward to it. But today, unbeknown to me and Richard, which is very unusual for us, it was also the day, or overnight, that the clocks went forward. So now we're now in British summertime. And normally we're on top of that. But it caught us out today. And we didn't, so I feel like I'm running a bit late. Just because I just didn't realise it was sometimes I quite like to do some of the clocks the night before and get, so I know where I am when I wake up. But this time, totally missed the whole build up to the clocks going forward. So I suppose that's about something about being retired, and you're kind of not always aware of what's going on in the wider world. Or I'm not always. I'm just tearing these roughly. I can always trim these bits off, but they'll all be overlapped a little bit, so this is a really pretty piece. Tearing this one up because it's got all the things on it that I really like. I will dip into the other papers as well, but it's got some really pretty pieces on this, which I'd like to use. I'll go that way. And then that piece. A lot of this video is going to be a bit of tearing up. So there might be spots where I just speed things up just to move it along. I don't know how long this video will be. I hope it won't be a long one. I don't plan for it to be, but that's always my problem. I never plan to make a long video, but somehow it always ends up that way. let's see if we can find a few pieces to add from these piles. I just pulled out a few pages from each of the magazines. These are definitely going to be great for focal points. I was thinking this might be quite a nice page for the journal, maybe, I don't know. Or I could pick out some of these little ads just to dot in and out, I think. Might do that. See if there's anything on here. I think that would be a good page. I'm not sure, but I thought there might be. Yeah, that's quite fun. Might put that in the journal. Oh, and this one I thought would be quite fun too. It's an old Cadbury's Roses ad. I mean, I used to buy Cadbury's Roses every Christmas, and of course this is in the old packaging, all colourful. It's not like that anymore. But I just thought it took my eye because it's so bright and colourful. I thought that might make a fun page in the journal as well. I know it's a bit big, but I can cut it down, fold it down. So they might be quite fun pages to use in the journal. And then, so that was from one of the magazines. And then we've got this. Well, I thought I'd just have a look, see if I've got any small ads in here that I could use maybe. Secret of a Comfy Baby. Oh yes, it's quite a nice one. Don't need to use too many of these because it's mostly about the lovely florals, but sometimes it's nice to break it up a little bit. There's a few little fun pieces. Sweet. Yep, I've got this one down here. These are quite lumpy, they might be too big, these. I like this one. Drip dry sheen cotton. That one, not so much about that one, but put that there anyway. We've got on this side, yeah, advert for Kitty Cat, don't think so. We've got some crown wallpaper pieces, some sort of here. I thought that's a good page to use for something. Even if I cut that in half and have it as two smaller pieces in the journal. So I like that one. And this is a nice one as well, sort of page of sort of pattern. That's right, a nice one to keep the whole page. So I might put that in. And I think we might have her. She's the cover page, isn't she? So I think we'll make a start. So I've got a few little scraps of other papers that may or may not. I've got some bits of music, some bits of book page. I don't know whether I'll use any of those, just to break it up a little bit. And a few digital bits. So I've got, don't know where this came from, I've got this bit of paper that I thought possibly would go in keeping. So we'll see. it's not a very big masterboard after all. Can't possibly use all of these things. So I had better get myself a glue page. Right, I've got something to glue on. Got my little pile over here now. Made a little bit of space for myself. So let's just start with, put the little magazine-y bits separate. And then if I feel I need to, there'll be more like little gap fillers, I think. So I'm just going to just pick a few pieces and glue them on. Try to be a little bit, I want to say random, but try not to think too much about placement and stuff. As long as things don't clash horribly, but none of this stuff does really. I did think about inking them all, but I thought, oh, life's too short sometimes. And, you know, once I've cut them up, made them into whatever they're going to be, tags, journal cards, whatever, then those bits will be inked. So let's try and find that bit down there. It's a lovely, glorious day. I think we're on the right, coming to the end of March. So to say, today is the first, theoretically, the first day of British summertime, and we should have. I mean, when you see this, because I'm filming ahead as I usually try to do, we'll be well into April. And actually, when this goes up, we'll be on our way to Norfolk. We're going to go for the weekend, see our friends. We often seem to do that at this time of year. I think we kind of wait until the really horrible weather subsides, and then head for Norfolk. Oops. I think I'm just going to dot these pieces around a bit and then fill in with other things. So, according to the forecast, the weather should be really nice. All of the week that is coming up for me, but it's probably just coming to an end for you. Oh, this even feels, I know it's kind of in your head, isn't it? But because you can see the fabric kind of weave, it feels like fabric to me. Weird. The power of suggestion. So yeah, that should be nice. We're just going Friday to Monday. Sometimes we stay an extra day and go and stay till Tuesday. But actually Tuesday, the day after we get back, is we've got and my granddaughter will be on school holidays, and we've got her for the day. So we're gonna have to think about what we want to do for that day. I'm just going to chop this piece off. Quite often when I do a collage, I'll just tear random shapes. But this time I thought I'd stick to the rectangles. A new book page. One thing we think we might do, our next door neighbours have a horse that they stable in the next village. Beautiful horse. I mean, I've only seen pictures of her, but they have offered if Alyssa would like to go and visit the horse and even maybe have a ride, which would be, we hope she would be really excited to do, but you never can tell with our Lissy. She might like the idea in theory, but how she'll how she'll deal with it if we actually go. I don't know. So we have to sort of talk to her and see how she feels about it, because it'd be a lovely thing to do and we'd love to take her. But I just don't know how she'll react when the time comes. I'm just wondering whether to put one of my maybe just bring in a bit of one of the kits. Maybe just a little piece. Something like that, pop that there. Yeah, so it'd be quite a nice thing to do. It was very kind of them to offer. They say the horse is a very gentle, calm horse. So it might work all right. And there are some little girls who are really, really into horses, aren't there, sometimes? I know my sister was very, very into horses when we were particularly in our young teens. She really loved going horse riding. We used to both go, but it was really her that took to it the most. I wasn't a natural. Wasn't really my thing. So I think I might take a bit of this off. This is quite a loud one, but I do love it. So give me a wheel go. I might just make that piece a little smaller. Yeah, so you're never sure whether Alyssa will love it or it'll just scare her to death. I don't know. Put that along there, I think. Okay, so it's coming together. Such pretty papers. That there. I don't think I've ever collaged like this before, just sort of random pieces all over. But it's really quite fun. Again, I think it's pretty, but it's a bit too big. My ruler keeps disappearing because it's transparent. It's very easy to lose. Whoops. Not entirely straight, but I'm not gonna worry. Put all my little pieces in the tray. Where should we go with this one? In this corner. Missed a bit. Not always the way. Always manage to miss a bit. Right. I think I need something up here. So I've got this funny piece that I might just tear down a little bit, or I've got a piece of this. I might just make that again a little bit smaller. Glue this one on, and then we'll have a look, see if we've got some other bits that we can just use to fill in the gaps. Like that. I want to go up a bit. There. Okay. Now let's have a look at some of these pieces. First of all, some of the other odd pieces of fabric, paper that I have. think I might put a piece of this here. This is very pretty and seems to go a bit, you know, quite well with the colours. No idea where this came from. It was just sitting in my tray. I feel it's not a digital, I don't think. I think it's just a piece from a pack or somewhere that I had. I don't know quite how it turned up or what it was in. But I spotted it and I thought, oh, 50s journal, that would work. I'm just going to use it to kind of join those pieces together. And what else have we got? Maybe a little piece of this somewhere. Oop. It's a long piece. I don't know if I wanted it to be as long as that. I'll just do that. Trim that piece off. Doesn't really matter which way up it is, but ooh. Can we get a piece of this on somewhere? I think we can, just because it's very, very pretty. Over there. And then I'll just put some of the other pieces in between. I'll just pop that there. Okay. Should we find a few? Might put a bit of music on now. A few choices of different ages and colours and things of music and all sorts. Collaging is one of those things. I could just do it all day. Once you get started, you just want to keep doing it, don't you? I've got some old bits of Italian book page here. It's quite thin. I thought I might use a bit just to make it more interesting. There's no connection to the 50s, as far as I'm aware. I'm sure it's all of these Italian papers I've had from Rachel are probably much older than that. But it's going on there just to add a bit of interest and contrast. It's really quite see-through, actually, this paper. So I'll just put a little bit on. And where I might overlap it with some of the paper so you can still see the paper through. Like that. Yeah, I might just pop that there. Maybe tear it down a little more. I don't want it to cover too much of the lovely pattern paper. going there. What else do we have? We have some nice book page, music paper. A little bit there. Put a bit of that up here. And what else? A bit of my favourite German book. Where are we? My little ruler just keeps disappearing. Where is it? Slid under the book. Oh, get rid of that sticky bit. Turn up there. Piece there. It's going to go up there. So I'm just trying to think if we've done anything interesting this week that I can talk to you about while I'm doing this slightly more boring stuff. We did actually do something interesting on Friday. Well, it was interesting. It wasn't really my thing, but it was something that it interested Richard, and as he came to see Six with me a few weeks ago and hated it, but it was what I wanted to do. It was kind of his turn to pick something for us to do that may not necessarily be right up my street, but I did kind of enjoy it. And it was to go and go and watch a podcast being filmed. It was up in London at the Crick Institute, which is a biomedical research institute. I don't know whether that's one I want to go on there, or one about the knitted woolens. Maybe we'll do the knitted woolens. Yeah, it was led by Brian Cox, who's a very well-known scientist. He's often on the TV. He's very interested in astronomy. But this podcast was about how we can use ancient DNA to inform the present day. I don't know, it was something to do with DNA, and it had some very expert scientists on the panel, and it was basically a discussion. People had sent in questions, presumably emailed them in beforehand, and then those people were there. They'd come along, they'd stand in front of a microphone, read out their question, and the panel would discuss it and see if they could. And sometimes they were quite simple questions. Sometimes they required a lot of thought. And it was quite interesting what people were asking. And there was definitely one question which I can't remember what it was, when Richard sat there nodding and saying, "Yes, that's the sort of thing I'd thought about." And I thought, ooh. So, anyway, it was quite good. It was very well done, and it was an interesting experience. It was about an hour and a half, Not as long as we thought it might be. They had said it could be up to 3 hours. And once you're in there, you can't really leave. Well, if you leave, you can't come back, is what they're saying. Because it's filming. They're filming it for radio. It wasn't for TV. But nevertheless. And there were a couple of things they had to retake. I think a couple of the questions, the people, from the public had read out their own question. They didn't always come over that clearly. So a couple of them had to redo that. But otherwise there wasn't a lot of retaking to be done, which was good. And then after that we went and we'd booked to go and have a meal. I wonder if I put that there. If I put it here, I'll just take that off. We'd booked a meal in a Greek restaurant very nearby. And we were a bit early, so we went and just sat and they said, well, we could still have our table. We just didn't need to start order our food until nearer the time we'd booked. So we sat and had a cocktail. Haven't had a cocktail for years. Well, what about years, but it's been a while. That's the thing we do very often, have cocktails. And Richard wasn't going to have a cocktail, but then they said we were just on the... he planned to just go and have a beer. But we just got by, like the skin of our teeth, had got into happy hour. So he said, all right, I will have one then, because it was like a two for... Well, they worked out cheaper, 2 for so much instead of full price. And he said, oh, I will have one then. Oh my goodness, don't think I've seen him enjoy a cocktail so much. He really hit the spot. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed mine as well, but actually I think his was even nicer. Okay, I've got that on there, I like that. So if I cut that into a tag, that's not even going to need a focal point or anything. So I need a little something here. So what can we do? Could have the little baby, or can we put him up here? I might put him down here, but not all of him. Not all of the ad. Just tear it down a bit. So we had our cocktail, made it last until it was time to order our food, and we had a really nice meal. And then we toddled off home. And it wasn't even that late when we got home, because the whole thing was an afternoon recording. I think it started at 3. So we were eating by soon after 6. Home before 9, I think. See how that fits. I may have to tear it down a little bit more, but it's so cute. Yeah, I might just put that there. Yeah. Let's bring it over that way a little bit. Yeah, that's better. So I'm still covering this space, but I didn't want it right next to that. Okay, I'm going to put that there. So I've got a few of the little pieces from the magazines, which is rather nice, and they are that nice vintage colour, a nice sort of soft colour. They're not white, so they go really nicely in there, and they are genuinely from the 50s. So I need to put something across here, but I don't want something the same colour. I've got another little piece of paper that I haven't used. I did have a piece of this. This is another piece of, I don't know where it comes from, but I thought it might go. Not sure it does on here now. It's kind of a bit leery in comparison to everything else. What about a piece of that? Let's put a piece of that on. That is one of the background papers. Okay. That can go right there. Okay. Then we'll see if there's any more bits that need little joins that look a bit awkward, that need a little something. Okay. So I feel I could do with just something here. That bit there. Yep, I think I will. Just that little square. Yep. Oh, got a bit across the here that needs to be covered. That bit there. That bit. Yeah. Let's just take a piece of this. And we'll just tear it across here. That can go there. Alright, I think that's all the gaps filled. There's a bit just coming up here. Do I want any more little bits of something or other? Let's see what I've got in here, see if I've anything I've missed that might go on, just to have a little piece of that. How would that go? This is a bit of Roxy Creations paper, but I thought it might be good some way. I think I kind of like it as it is. So I think we're going to cut it up now. Scary bit. I can always do some extra, add some extra bits once it's been cut into shape. Let me just get my trimmer. See what we can do. So I know I definitely want to make sure I've got this piece cut as a tag. I'll just bring it across that way a little bit. I've got that one, and that'll need just a bit of trimming off. It's a little tall. Might be okay. Might leave it like that. I'm half inclined to turn it over now. I am inclined to turn it over and see what we can make. I wonder whether to make a couple of journal cards, cut it about there, and then cut them down the middle. Always seem to need large journal cards and never quite have what I want, so I'm going to cut that about there, I think. I don't know what I'm cutting on the other side. Like that. And I'm going to cut it this way, kind of in the middle. No, Don't know how wide it is, but that's 4 that way. Is that about the same? We'll do it there. 2 journal cards. Then I'm turning it. How tall are these? Let's see. I'll do it this way. I'm going to make tags 6.5. That's quite tall for tags. What about the other one? I probably ended up with a nice square, so I'd have 6.5 by 7.5. Okay, well I'm going to make tags, and I might just have to trim a bit off. I'm going to make 3 tags. One that's reasonably wide, and then a couple of thinner ones, I think. Bump. Okay, no idea what we've got. I may have cut a small baby in half, I don't know. I hope not, but you never know. Shall we have a look, see what we've got? So we know we've got this tag, and that just needs trimming up at the side because it's a bit untidy, so I might do that with my trimmer. Then we've got this journal card. So, because I like my journal cards, generally speaking, I find journal cards I use vertically, because I tend to go into either into a pocket that way or sideways, but I do prefer them to be oriented that way. Even though the writing's that way, it doesn't really matter. Then we've got this one, which I think, looking at it, I'll have to do that way. It needs to be that way, and I think that might be better as a pocket. So maybe that one will be a pocket. Okay, and then we have our tags. So we've got this tag. This one was pretty, yeah. And we've got this one. With the baby on the side, but actually, laying on his side, it could be facing this way as well, so I don't mind that. Do you want to go that way? Maybe that way. No, I quite like it that way. I quite like that tag. So, I'll just get my little tag punch, and the ones that are definitely tags. Whoops! Sorry. Right, so, okay, just pick this up off the floor. Just going to make my tags into tags. I don't know about the length of it. It wouldn't be a big issue to chop a bit off the bottom if it was too tall, so I'm not going to do anything about that for now. So I've got that one. This one is a bit narrow, so I'm going to do a slightly smaller corner, I think, on this one. Oh no, it still needs to be the bigger one. That's not big enough. Okay, that's a pretty tag, and that is one I could. What's going on here? Oh, coming unglued. How are we doing the time? Yes, I will have to finish it very soon because I will probably speed some bits up, but mostly I want you to kind of craft along with me, really. So I may not do so much editing on this one as I might have done on another one. So I'm thinking, where is my lady? How about her on there? I think we might have to come back and do the decorating on these because I would possibly want something else with this. It's a bit untidy anyway. I think I'll do that in another video. Maybe we'll start next week's by decorating these and then move on to something else, because it's idea box next week, isn't it? I'm going to round the corners on this journal card. Okay, and that will need a focal point too. This one won't need a focal point, might need a bit of lace though. What happened there? And then this one is going to be a pocket, so we're just going to do a little bit of this to make it clear it's a pocket. Okay, and that won't need much of a focal point either because we've got the little ad. So that's our video for today. I'm really pleased how these have turned out. I think, oh, I've missed this one, sorry. That's another tag, so I'm going to do another. That could be a belly band though, couldn't it? So I may not do anything with the corners of that one, just in case I change my mind as to how I want to use it. But yeah, I'm really pleased how these have turned out. I think they look lovely. I really wanted to use those papers because I think they're gorgeous. And I think the ones on here, they do go quite well with the papers that I'm using in the kit. I think that works all right. All sorts of little corner bits now floating on my desk. So yeah, that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope perhaps you might like to do a bit of collaging along with me, because it's so much fun. I'd like to do more of it really, but yeah, I don't do too many collaging videos because I understand they can be a bit boring, but hopefully not too much when you're using such pretty papers. So I'll see you again soon, and happy Mother's Day to all your mothers out there. Bye for now.